SANDHAN, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Hello friends, myself Jayesh Rawal from SN College, Chota Udaipur, and here I am to talk about Aristotle criticism, Aristotle's definition and aspects of criticism. So let's see about Aristotle's definition and aspects of criticism. But before we discuss about Aristotle's definition of tragedy and aspects of tragedy, it is very necessary to know something about Aristotle. Who was Aristotle and why Aristotle is so important when we talk about literature and criticism. So Aristotle was an ancient Greek and lived between 384 BC and 322 BC. He was the pupil of the philosopher Plato. We know whenever we talk about in literature, we talk about Aristotle, Plato's name is always there. We know very well the charges laid by Plato on poetry and literature. So Aristotle studied at Plato's academy in Athens, Greece. Aristotle wrote extensively on logic, physics, ethics, aesthetics, rhetoric, politics, and many other subjects concerning the natural world and human existence. We know very well that Aristotle touched almost every subjects of human being. And after talking about Aristotle's criticism in poetics, what is poetics? Let's try to understand the poetics. Poetics is a great work by Aristotle. And what is that poetics? In it, what Aristotle talks about. So poetics is a precise and detailed discussion of the tragic form. Precise and detailed discussion of the tragic form actually begin with Aristotle's classic analysis of the poetics from 4th century BC. Aristotle's theory of tragedy is based on the examples available to him. At that time, we know that not so many tragedies were written, but before Aristotle, he had very few examples available before him. And these examples of tragedies by Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euripides. And whatever Aristotle talks about tragedy, it is based on these examples of Sophocles, Aeschylus, and Euripides. Aristotle's Poetic is a short work that presents his analysis and insights on the purpose of art and literature. Aristotle mainly examines drama. His whole concern is about comedy and tragedy and poetry as epic form. Aristotle's Poetics is a fragmentary, incomplete work of literary criticism. So this is all about poetics. Poetics is a nice work about criticism of drama, and in drama, comedy and tragedy, and also about epic poetry. It deals with tragedy, comedy, and epic poetry. In spite of its fragmentary nature, Poetic is an authoritative treatise. Okay, when we talk about tragedy, whoever talk about tragedy, he has to refer Aristotle's definition and aspects, whatever Aristotle has talked about tragedy. So poetics, the work Poetic by Aristotle is considered the religious book in the criticism in the field of in the form of tragedy. So as we have just seen that in Poetics Aristotle talked about tragedy. So what is his definition about the tragedy? Let's try to understand. But before we understand the definition, what Aristotle said about the tragedy, let's try to understand. Let's see his definition. One should remember this definition. Each and every one is full of meanings. Even it is also said that on each and every word a whole essay, so many essays can be written. So this definition of tragedy is so much important. Whenever we are talk about tragedy, we have to think about, we have to understand the definition first. And if suppose you want to write any good and ideal tragedy, you have to keep this tragedy in mind. So let's see the definition of tragedy by Aristotle. Tragedy is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of certain magnitude. In language embellished with each kind of artistic ornament, the several kinds being found in separate part of the play, in the form of action, not of narrative, through pity and fear affecting the proper catharsis or purgation of this emotion. So dear students, whenever you write anything about tragedy, you have to quote this definition given by Aristotle, because without this definition your answer about the tragedy might be incomplete. So you have to quote Aristotle when you talk about the definitions of tragedy. So let's see what is there in this definition by Aristotle. Aristotle states in due logical order, first, what tragedy is and represents. In this definition, we see in the beginning that Aristotle states in due logical order, first, what tragedy is and represent. Secondly, the form it employs. Thirdly, the manner in which it is communicated. And lastly, the function, a very, very important thing as far as tragedy or drama is concerned. At last, in the definition, Aristotle talks about the function it fulfills. Before we understand this definition in detail, word by word, to understand this definition, I think it is necessary to understand some key words that Aristotle refers in his definition. So let's see the important or Greek words that are there in the definition and poetics. First one is mimesis. Actually these are Greek words. So here the simple English, we can say, we try to understand a Greek word. Mimesis is a Greek word for imitation. In simple English we can say it is imitation. Next one is imitation. Imitation is there. Mimesis and imitation are actually, in one way we can say that they are synonyms, representation. But we have to keep these words in mind whenever we talk about Aristotle and Aristotle's definition of tragedy. We have to keep this in mind. We have to know the meanings of these words. Magnitude is what? Is length and size. Length. The length is here about the size of tragedy. Embellished. The word is there in the definitions. These words are there in the definitions. Embellished, ornamental, decorated. Then catharsis, very, very important word. On the basis of this, a tragedy, any tragedy is written. Catharsis means purgation, purification. We shall see all these words in detail later on. Hamartia, again very important. Tragic flow, error of judgment. Due to this hamartia or tragic flow, the whole tragedy occurs. peripeteia is again reversal, turning of events and circumstances. Anagnorisis is a discovery. Diction, special style of the language, expression and wording. We understand we must have come across this word diction. So in it, language is there, expression of wording is there. Spectacle, stage property. These are among spectacle is also among one of the elements. Spectacle is there. Denouement, the clearing up or untying of the complications of the plot in the play or story usually takes place in the ends. So these are the keywords whenever we talk about tragedy and Aristotle's definition of tragedy. We have to understand these key terms. Next, Aristotle said that any tragedy can be divided into 6 constituent parts, elements. Let's see elements one by one, which are very important when we talk about the tragedy. First one is the plot. What is plot? Let's try to understand something about the plot now, but we shall look into it in detail. Plot, the most important part of a tragedy. The plot means the arrangement of the incidents. Normally the plot is divided into 5 acts, and each act is further divided into several scenes. The dramatist's main skill lies in dividing the plot into acts and scenes in such a way that they may produce the maximum scenic effects in a natural development. The next very important element is character. You see, these are the primary elements on which Aristotle stresses a lot. Character, the secondary and the second most important element. Characters are men and women who act. The hero and the heroine are two important figures among the characters. So actually we must have come across the importance of character in literature. Whenever we talk about literature and drama, whether it is be it drama or novel, character is very important. So you must have come across this word character, and literary it is very important. And when we talk about drama, the character is secondary, and especially in tragedy, character is very, very important element. Next one is thought. Thought is what? Thought means what the character thinks or feels during their career in the development of the plot. The thought is expressed through their speeches and dialogues. Whatever character speaks or expresses, they don't express or speak without thinking. So thoughts are very important. So thought is the third most important element here in the tragedy. Next one is diction. Diction is the medium of language or expression through which the characters reveal their thoughts and feelings. The diction should be embellished with each kind of artistic ornaments. We have seen in the definition that these are the words by Aristotle, embellished with each kind of artistic element. So this diction is again crucial and important element in tragedy. Next one is song. The song is one of these embellishments. It can be included into diction also. So the song is also crucial and very important for the embellishment. Spectacle again. The decoration of the stage is the major part The decoration of the stage is the major part of the spectacle. The spectacle is theatrical effect presented on the stage. Is a theatrical spectacle, we understand. Even we can say the background of the play is a spectacle. What audience or the viewers see in the background is also called spectacle. So let's see these elements and other aspects of tragedy one by one. Let's try to understand in detail. First one, as we have seen, the first very important element discussed by Aristotle, the first very important element is plot. Plot is very, without plot, a tragedy or comedy or a play cannot be possible. So plot is the first and very most important element here in the tragedy. So Aristotle argues that among the 6 formative elements that we have seen just, among the 6 formative elements, the plot is the most important element. The plot is ranked the first here. As far as tragedy is concerned, plot is the most and important. By plot, Aristotle means the arrangement of incidents. What do we understand by the word plot? What is the simple meaning? If we want to understand the plot in a simple words, what can we say? That plot is nothing else but the arrangement of incidents. How the actions or incidents are arranged. That arrangement is called plot. Incident means actions, and incidents is not different from action. Action, we understand the word action. Action is crucial and very important. What is plot? Plot is nothing else but a series of actions and incidents, and tragedy is an imitation of action, both internal and external. Here Aristotle talks that external incidents or actions